Jenna wiped the counter at the gas station and looked at the clock. It was almost midnight, and the place was quiet except for the hum of the lights. At 26, Jenna had worked here for 2 years. She knew every pump and every grumpy customer by now. The job wasn't fancy, but it helped her pay the bills, or at least some of them. She had to cover rent, buy groceries, and help her younger brother with school fees. There wasn't much left for herself, but Jenna didn't complain. She always tried to be kind and do her best, even when people were rude to her. One night, a tired-looking car pulled up to the gas pumps outside. A young woman got out and walked to the register. She looked worn out, her eyes red like she'd been crying, and her clothes looked messy. "Hi," the woman said softly. "Can I fill up my tank? I'll pay inside." Jenna nodded and rang up the total. Came to $35. The woman handed over a crumpled $20 bill and started looking through her purse for the rest. After a few seconds, her face fell. "I'm so sorry," she said, tears in her eyes. "I don't have enough. I thought I did." Jenna felt bad for her. She'd seen many people struggle to pay for gas, but this woman looked especially upset. "It's okay," Jenna said kindly. "Don't worry about it. Just go home safely." The woman stared at her, surprised. "Are you sure? I don't want to get you in trouble." "No trouble," Jenna replied with a small smile. "You'll be fine. Take care." As the woman drove off, she gave Jenna a grateful look. Jenna felt good about helping her, even though she broke the rules a little. The next morning, Jenna's manager, Mr. Carter, walked into the station looking angry. He held a report in his hand and slammed it on the counter. "Jenna," he said sharply, "what's this about a $15 gas sale last night that wasn't paid for?" Jenna froze. She had hoped no one would notice, but she knew there was no hiding it now. I let someone go without paying," she admitted quietly. She didn't have enough money, and she looked like she really needed help. Mr. Carter shook his head, his face red with frustration. "You can't just give away gas whenever you feel like it. We have rules here, Jenna." "Rules?" "I know," Jenna replied, trying to stay calm. But she was struggling. "I don't care if she was struggling," Mr. Carter interrupted. "This is a business, not a charity. You broke protocol, and I can't ignore that." Before Jenna could respond, Mr. Carter pointed toward the door. "That's it. You're fired. Clean out your locker and leave." Jenna's heart sank. She had worked so hard at this job, even though it wasn't perfect. Being fired felt unfair, but she also knew she couldn't take back her decision to help the woman. As she packed up her things, tears filled her eyes. She thought about calling her brother to tell him what happened, but she didn't want to worry him. Instead, she stepped outside, sat on the curb, and stared at the empty road ahead. Meanwhile, something unexpected was happening nearby. A man sitting in a sleek black Rolls-Royce had witnessed the entire scene from across the street. He had been filling up his car when he saw Jenna let the young mom leave without paying. At first, he thought nothing of it until he noticed how kind Jenna had been. Then, when Mr. Carter came out yelling and sent Jenna away, the man watched silently, intrigued. "That girl has heart," he murmured to himself. After Jenna left the station, the man decided to follow her discreetly. He wanted to find out more about her, to understand why someone would risk their job for a stranger. For Jenna, walking away from the gas station felt like losing more than just a paycheck. Felt like losing a part of herself. She didn't regret helping the woman, but she worried about how she'd make ends meet now. As she turned the corner onto a quiet street, she noticed the Rolls-Royce slowing down beside her. The window rolled down, revealing a well-dressed man with sharp eyes and a warm smile. "Excuse me," he said politely. "Are you Jenna?" Jenna hesitated, unsure who this man was or why he was asking. "Yes, why?" "I saw what happened at the gas station," the man explained. "I want to talk to you about it, but not here. Can we meet somewhere?" Confused but curious, Jenna nodded. Little did she know, this meeting would change her life forever. Jenna met the man at a small cafe down the street. He introduced himself as Mr. Lawrence, a businessman who had witnessed her kindness at the gas station. "I was impressed by what you did," Mr. Lawrence said warmly. Not many people would risk their job to help someone they didn't even know. Jenna shrugged, still feeling defeated. I didn't think about losing my job when I did it. I just wanted to help her. That's exactly why it matters, Mr. Lawrence replied. You acted out of compassion, not self-interest. That's rare these days. Jenna appreciated his kind words, but she couldn't shake the weight of her situation. Without a paycheck, how would she afford rent? How could she keep helping her brother with school fees? As if reading her mind, Mr. Lawrence leaned forward. Let me ask you something, Jenna. What do you want to do with your life? The question caught her off guard. For so long, she'd been focused on surviving day to day that she hadn't thought much beyond paying bills. I don't know, she admitted. Maybe go back to school someday or find a better job. But right now, I'm just trying to figure out how to get by. Mr. Lawrence nodded thoughtfully. What if I told you I could help make that happen? Jenna blinked, unsure what he meant. Help how? For starters, he explained. I'll speak to your manager and ensure you're reinstated, at least until we sort things out. Beyond that, I can offer opportunities to improve your skills and build a better future. Jenna hesitated, overwhelmed by his generosity. Why would you do all this for me? You don't even know me. Because kindness deserves to be rewarded, Mr. Lawrence said firmly. And because I believe in investing in good people. Over the next few hours, they discussed options, training programs, financial aid, and even potential job openings within Mr. Lawrence's company. By the time they parted ways, Jenna felt a spark of hope she hadn't felt in years. Later that evening, as she sat at her kitchen table, Jenna reflected on everything that had happened. From losing her job to meeting Mr. Lawrence, it felt like a whirlwind. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of a journey that would transform her life forever. The next day, Jenna returned to the gas station. Not to work, but to face Mr. Carter alongside Mr. Lawrence. As they walked in, all eyes turned toward them. Mr. Carter looked startled to see the impeccably dressed man stride into his small station. Mr. Carter, Mr. Lawrence began, his tone calm but commanding. I understand you had to let Jenna go for breaking protocol. While I respect your rules, I'd like to offer a solution. Mr. Carter frowned, clearly uneasy. Who are you, exactly? My name is Daniel Lawrence, he replied smoothly. I'm the CEO of Lawrence Enterprises. And this young woman, he gestured to Jenna, who stood quietly beside him, has qualities that deserve recognition, not punishment. Jenna's heart raced as she listened. She hadn't expected Mr. Lawrence to be so direct or so influential. Mr. Carter stammered, suddenly nervous. Well, we have policies. I understand, Mr. Lawrence interrupted gently but firmly. But sometimes, compassion is more valuable than policy. Let me propose this. Reinstate Jenna immediately, and I'll personally ensure she receives additional training to grow within your team, or mine, if needed. Mr. Carter hesitated, glancing between Jenna and Mr. Lawrence. Finally, he sighed. All right, if it means that much to you, fine. Jenna, you're back on the schedule. Relief washed over Jenna as she thanked Mr. Carter quietly. But Mr. Lawrence wasn't done yet. After speaking with Mr. Carter, he turned to Jenna. Now, let's talk about what comes next for you. He handed her an envelope. Inside were details about a scholarship program and internship opportunities at Lawrence Enterprises. There was also a note from him. Kindness opens doors. Walk through them confidently. Tears welled up in Jenna's eyes. I don't know how to thank you, she said softly. You already have, Mr. Lawrence replied with a smile. By being kind when no one else would. As they stepped outside, his Rolls-Royce gleamed under the afternoon sun. Before leaving, Mr. Lawrence placed a hand on her shoulder. This is just the beginning, Jenna. Keep shining your light. And remember, people notice. Jenna watched as the car drove away, clutching the envelope tightly. For the first time in days, she felt hopeful. Little did she know, her act of kindness had set off a ripple effect that would continue to change lives, including her own. With Mr. Lawrence's support, Jenna's life began to change in ways she never imagined. The scholarship program he arranged allowed her to enroll in business courses at a local community college, something she had always dreamed of but never thought possible. At the gas station, her renewed confidence didn't go unnoticed. Customers who once ignored her now greeted her warmly, and even Mr. Carter seemed to soften his tone around her. It was as if Mr. Lawrence's intervention hadn't just changed Jenna's circumstances. It had shifted how others saw her too. Meanwhile, Mr. Lawrence kept tabs on Jenna's progress, checking in occasionally with encouraging messages or small gestures of support. One evening, after finishing her shift, Jenna found an anonymous gift waiting for her at home. A laptop with a note attached. "For your studies. You've earned it." Tears filled her eyes as she realized how much people believed in her. For years, she had doubted whether she was capable of anything beyond survival. Now, doors were opening everywhere she turned. Jenna threw herself into her studies, determined not to waste the opportunities she'd been given. She excelled in her classes, earning praise from professors who noticed her hard work and determination. Her instructors encouraged her to apply for internships, reminding her that companies valued employees with both skills and character. One day, while attending a career fair at her college, Jenna spotted a familiar face, Mr. Lawrence. He stood by a booth representing Lawrence Enterprises, chatting with students. When he saw Jenna, his face lit up with pride. "Jenna," he called out, waving her over. "How are your studies going?" "They're great," she replied, beaming. "I couldn't have done any of this without you." "You did all the hard work," Mr. Lawrence said kindly. "I just gave you a push." He introduced her to other executives at the booth, explaining how Jenna's kindness and resilience had inspired him. By the end of their conversation, they offered her a summer internship, a chance to gain real-world experience at one of the most respected companies in the region. As Jenna walked away, clutching the internship offer letter, she felt a deep sense of gratitude, not just for Mr. Lawrence, but for the stranger she had helped at the gas station months ago. That simple act of compassion had sparked a chain reaction, leading her to where she was today. Little did she know, this was only the beginning of her journey toward making a difference in the world. Months later, Jenna received an invitation to a special event hosted by Lawrence Enterprises, a gala celebrating community heroes who had made a difference through acts of kindness. When she arrived at the elegant venue, she was greeted warmly by Mr. Lawrence himself. "Jenna," he said with a proud smile, "I'm so glad you could make it." Jenna felt out of place among the well-dressed crowd, but Mr. Lawrence's encouragement put her at ease. Throughout the evening, he introduced her to influential guests, sharing her story with pride. She risked everything to help someone in need, Mr. Lawrence told the group during his speech. And because of her selflessness, she inspired me, and many others, to do the same. The room erupted into applause as Jenna blushed, humbled by the attention. She hadn't thought of herself as a hero, just someone trying to do the right thing. But hearing Mr. Lawrence speak reminded her of the ripple effect kindness could create. After the event, Mr. Lawrence pulled Jenna aside for a quiet moment. "I wanted you to see this," he said, gesturing to the crowd mingling nearby. "These are people inspired by your story. Together, we can create programs that help others like you, people who just need a little support to thrive." Jenna nodded, feeling a mix of pride and purpose. "I'd love to help however I can." From that night on, Jenna and Mr. Lawrence worked closely together, organizing initiatives to assist struggling families and individuals. They launched mentorship programs, provided resources for single parents, and even started a fund to help cover unexpected expenses for those in need. For both of them, it wasn't just about gratitude, it was about continuing to make a difference. Their shared values of compassion and service turned a chance encounter into a lifelong partnership. As they stood side by side at the end of the event, watching people connect and share stories, Jenna realized something profound. Her kindness hadn't just changed her own life. It had created a movement that would touch countless others. Years passed, and Jenna's life flourished in ways she once thought impossible. Her internship at Lawrence Enterprises led to a full-time position, where she quickly rose through the ranks thanks to her hard work, dedication, and natural leadership skills. She became a voice for underprivileged communities, advocating for programs that provided education, job training, and financial support to those in need. Her family thrived too. With stable income and access to resources, Jenna was able to move her parents into a safer neighborhood and help her brother graduate college debt-free. For the first time in years, their home felt filled with laughter instead of worry. Meanwhile, Mr. Lawrence remained a constant presence in Jenna's life, attending milestones and cheering her on from afar. Together, they expanded their initiatives, reaching more families and communities than ever before. What began as a simple act of kindness at a gas station had grown into a legacy of compassion and connection. One evening, as Jenna stood outside the community center they had built together, she looked up at the sign that read, "Kindness changes lives." Beneath it was a mural depicting hands reaching out to help one another, a tribute to all the lives they had touched. Mr. Lawrence joined her, smiling warmly. "You've come so far, Jenna. Look at everything you've accomplished." "It's because of you," Jenna replied softly. "If you hadn't believed in me, none of this would have been possible." "No," Mr. Lawrence countered gently. "It's because of you. You showed me what true kindness looks like. Now, look at the ripple effect. It's everywhere." Jenna glanced around at the bustling center, filled with laughter, learning, and love. Families gathered for workshops, children played in the courtyard, and volunteers worked tirelessly to ensure everyone felt welcome. For Jenna, this wasn't just success. It was fulfillment. She had turned her struggles into strength and her gratitude into action. And through it all, she had proven that kindness wasn't just an act. It was a way of life. As the sun set, casting golden light over the scene, Jenna felt a deep sense of peace. Her journey had been long and challenging, but every step had been worth it. And so, her story became a testament to the power of kindness, a reminder that even the smallest gestures can transform lives forever. And that's the end of the $15 that changed everything. Glowing Star. We hope this heartwarming story reminded you of the incredible power of kindness, gratitude, and second chances. Jenna's journey shows us that even in our hardest moments, acts of compassion can open doors we never imagined and inspire others to do the same. Now, we'd love to hear from you. What did you think of the story? Did it inspire you or make you reflect on your own experiences? Where are you watching from? Are you tuning in from the US, India, the UK, or somewhere else in the world? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear about your corner of the globe. If you enjoyed this tale of generosity and transformation, don't forget to subscribe for more stories that celebrate humanity, connection, and the beauty of making a difference. Your support means the world to us and helps us continue sharing these heartfelt narratives. Lastly, drop a comment below and share. Sparkles, what was your favorite moment in the story? Sparkles, have you ever witnessed or been part of a situation where kindness changed everything? Thank you so much for joining us on this inspiring journey with Jenna and Mr. Lawrence. We're grateful for your time and enthusiasm, and we can't wait to bring you more stories that uplift, inspire, and connect us all. Red Heart, until next time, stay kind, stay hopeful, and never underestimate the ripple effect of doing what's right.